Um, yeah, we just completed a good weekend against TCU, kind of pulling our way through this Big 12 conference, and now have a tough road test at Iowa State that we're looking forward to. They have always been a very well-trained, well-disciplined, and extremely tough team to play, and we're looking forward to it.
All right, raise your hands and we'll get a mic to you. Start with Terry on your right.
Coach Elliott, good afternoon. So, you've talked about the science and it's Moneyball, and you guys have analytics for this. As you look at all the teams across the country, are there anybody that gives you a competition anywhere in any of the, the columns that you're looking at?
Oh yeah, we're not even, in every column that we have in regards to hitting percentage, defense, blocking, we're not number one in any of them right now. So, every team kind of has its own superpower, or superpower is what makes them special. And then you kind of build on those the superpowers that you have to become a good volleyball team. And then you're always kind of working to improve the areas that need improvement. So it's an ongoing process, but we're always evaluating ourselves and looking at our numbers and how we can get better and continue to improve.
So who would be the team that most likely would be?
Well, I don't study everybody else around the country. When we get close to those teams, a week out we can prepare for those teams. But who they are. Louisville's playing extremely well. You got Pitt, you got Wisconsin, who we played. Kentucky's very good. There's teams all over the country that are able to beat you on any given night.
Jerritt, as you start to look forward to seeding and figuring out the tournament, how much margin of error do you think this team has going forward?
Well, the margin of error depends on what everybody else does and how we perform. Obviously, this is a very important weekend with Iowa State, and then we have a bye, and then we get into the next part with Baylor. And so, yeah, the next couple of weeks are really important for us, obviously. It's an important time, but, we handle every match the same. It's process-oriented. Where can we get better this week, and focus on those key areas.
What has Melanys' impact on the team been, and what are the areas that you're looking for her to improve most?
Well, Melanie's been a fun player to have. She's a very talented outside hitter, but right now is in a role where she's a defensive specialist. And, she is an impact player because of her serve and her ability to ball control. Her touches are very clean, but her service, when it's on, may be one of the best serves in the country, and she's able to go on some point runs for us. So puts a lot of pressure on teams when she gets to that service line. Overall, we're working on our first contact and our defense. Those are the key things that are going to be successful, or keys to success when you keep moving forward.
Jerritt, I know complacency is a silent enemy for a lot of coaches, especially successful programs. How do you guard against it, and how important is that senior leadership in the locker room?
Yeah, I don't think we're complacent. I think we've been going for 3 semesters in a row, so it's been a challenge from the emotional side, and I think there's other programs that have been going through this. So for us, it's been trying to find the right balance to try to find them some emotional and mental health so they can be just normal students and enjoy it. Like this weekend, they had the entire weekend off from volleyball. So we're just trying to keep on top of that so they can be fresh and they can compete at a high level. When we compete, we're obviously in a good position. So, I think any coach will tell you the biggest battle you have is making sure your team shows up and performs at the level they're capable of. The majority of upsets happen when your team doesn't show up and compete at the level that they can. So it's something that we work on with our captains. It's an ongoing process, but we have data where we're trying to kind of manage their emotional health as well, their physical health, and we have numbers that we're hitting every single day about our workload and how much they should be doing. Some days are higher, and some days are a little bit lower. But our sports science team helps us out a lot with that.
Yeah, just kind of on that front, what did they take from the 5-setter against Kansas? Obviously, you've been pretty dominant since then, but what did you learn about your team in that match, and then kind of moving forward since then?
Well, you never want to be in that match when the match is going on, but when it's over, you're really happy that you were in those matches. We knew that Kansas was really good. If you look at the history of that match, there's been so many 5-setters that we've been able to pull out. I thought they came out extremely hot. I didn't think we were there all emotionally. Our touches weren't very clean, so we struggled in that area a little bit. But, I think good teams learn how to win, and we've been showing that to this point. And they were really erratic in those first 2 games, and they calmed themselves down and were able to get a point where they put themselves in a position to win. And then the next night I knew that we'd be successful. But going into that match, I met with our captains. I met with we had a motivational speech from our strength coach. I just felt something was off. They were super into the football game that was going on, the OU game. So there was a lot of distractions that we were trying to kind of hone them in. But Kansas played extremely well in that first match.
Is that the biggest benefit moving forward, is knowing a tight match like that, you can calm down, you can kind of regroup?
Yeah, we've been able to do it so far throughout the season. We were down big at Minnesota. They gave us some breaks, but we were able to kind of pull out some games, and we've done that so far all season long. But you want to get in those situations. You want to build up some confidence in tough situations, and because we know that's going to come in the NCAA tournament, right? So you're going to have to kind of fight your way through that.
Yeah, Coach. So we cover the team. It's easy. Everyone loves #1 volleyball in the country. But is there a player or players that you wish that we spotlighted, or they deserve the spotlight that we could cover?
Yeah, we have a lot of players that could be in that spotlight right now. I think Skylar's really improved her game at a high level and is playing at a premier level. Obviously, everybody knows Logan. And then you got Brianne and Asia that are a really tough 1-2 punch. I think our setting has gotten better as we've gone along. And then Molly is kind of the silent assassin. You don't really game plan for her, and then you look at the stats, and she really puts some pressure on you. So, it's kind of a fun combination of that. It reminds me of 2012 when we had Shadair McNeil. She didn't get any awards, which she deserved it, but she was the kind of glue to our team, and Molly has a big role in that as well. So there's a lot of groups of players that should be focused on, and I think the city and the country should know about them.
Jerritt, kind of off-court question. It doesn't seem like you guys have struggled at all with recruiting these next 2 classes. I know you can't get into specifics, but how much has the COVID-free year kind of impacted what you all have had to do on the recruiting? I don't know if it's made it more difficult or made it more of a juggling act, but how has that kind of impacted what you all are doing?
It was really challenging because the recruiting process was we were all out for COVID. The new rules stated that we could not start recruiting or see these players until June 3rd. So that was the first time in over a year and a half that we had actually seen them with our own eyes. So we were on the road for 2 weeks, and then June 15th was the first time that we were able to ever talk to them. So there was a lot of pressure, in those phone calls, trying to offer scholarships, trying to make sure they were interested. And, we got hit on the back end of this COVID situation because we're losing 2 classes at the same time. So we were in need of some big classes and making sure that they got on campus and we're able to see it. And, so far it's been really good. We're still working, and it's always a working process. But for me, it's always the thing that keeps me up at night. To keep the level of this program's at is not easy. Our staff has worked really hard to make sure that our foot is in the door with these players, and we're really happy with some of the big names that we've been able to get.
Does it make it more difficult to figure out your roster? Logan decides to stay for a 5th year, Jenna decides to stay for a 5th year. Does that make that more difficult?
Yes, I mean, we've had those talks already. We had the, what do you want to do? Brianne has another year. So unless we get a nice name, image, and likeness gift coming up, she's going to go on and play professionally. And she should. She's been here for over 6 years, because she redshirted and all that, and she's ready for that kind of next level. And we've had those same talks. But someone like a Logan is ready to go play professionally, but she wants to get her business degree. And so she's in grad school, and she's really taking advantage of what this school can bring to them from an academic standpoint. So, yeah, it's been a juggling act for sure, trying to figure out how this is all going to work, but it's part of the process.
What are your usage plans for Sage like going forward?
So Sage was out probably the first month. We're trying to get her used to our tempos, her consistency within our system. I think she's improved from week to week. I thought she had a good week. This last week we were able to get her some more time. We've been using her right now as a substitute for Jenna in the front court, giving us a little bit more blocking and dumping capabilities. But we're excited to kind of see where her growth is. I think it's really pushed Jenna too. I think Jenna's setting some of her best ball that she's set at. So that competition for Jenna has been really good for her, and their dynamics have been really good.
Since I assume this is going to be her last trip to kind of back home, could you reflect a little bit on Sydney and her time here and just the transition she's had to make for you guys?
Yeah, Sydney's been an amazing player to have in our program. We knew, not only do we try to recruit really good athletes, but we try to recruit kids from really good families. And, you know, her mom is the Northern Iowa coach and has a pedigree of, you know, being in the gym and kind of a gym rat. And when we got her, we were super excited. And her journey's been a little bit different, right? She's been our libero, and then now she's our defensive specialist. But she's been all in for the team. She's been great as kind of a silent leader within our program, and she shows up every day to work. And she's made us the program that we are today.